stand and block me from closing my garage.
You cannot.
I have to go to the
You can
airport.
do what you
I have to go to the airport.
You
No,
go ahead.
you cannot stay here in my
Go
garage.
ahead and do it.
Diane,
Victoria, you do
you're
not
acting
have
like a child. This is my property.
In a quiet condo community in Montana, a bizarre encounter sparked concern over tenant rights and personal space. A resident recently spoke out after a neighbor unexpectedly entered her garage without permission, an incident that quickly escalated and led to a police response. The dispute began over something as simple as a sprinkler system. The HOA, which oversees landscaping services like snow removal and seasonal flower planting, needed access to a water control system, oddly located inside the resident's private garage. Twice a year, a technician stops by to turn the sprinklers on or off.
I live in a condo. There are several other units near mine. Diana's one of the neighbors, and what she does is she organizes some of the HOA stuff. So we pay an HOA that exclusively does things like pick up the snow, water the grass, plant flowers in the springtime. Okay, the sprinkler system for that is in our garage for some reason, and twice a year the sprinkler technician has to get in so that in the spring he can turn the sprinklers on and in the fall he can turn the sprinklers off. Okay, Diana's the one who schedules that. She's usually very rude. She usually does not think about us or really ask. She's not our landlord. She has no control over our unit, even though she thinks she does. She has no official job or title or anything like that. She is just the person who does the scheduling for our HOA.
The resident had been told by a woman named Diana, a neighbor who informally organizes these maintenance visits, that the technician would arrive at 8 a.m. She complied, opening the garage and waiting. But after 3.5 hours with no technician and a pending trip to the airport, she decided to close her garage and leave. That's when things took a turn. According to the resident, Diana physically blocked the garage door, refusing to move, even after being asked by both the tenant and her landlord. Out of caution, the tenant refrained from any physical contact, fearing it could lead to false accusations. Instead, she called the police. After roughly 20 minutes, the technician himself suggested rescheduling. Only then did Diana step aside.
She told us that this technician was coming at 8 a.m. We said, okay, fine. We made sure the garage was open right at 8 a.m. for the technician. He still wasn't there. He was running late, whatever. I was getting ready to travel, and I could not stay there beyond 3.5 hours, which was how long I had the garage open, 3.5 hours for what should have taken 10 minutes, but because the technician was running behind and all these things, it didn't get done. So I am getting ready to depart. My friend drives up to pick me up, to take me to the airport. I kindly let her know, like, hey, I'm sorry that this hasn't been solved yet. I guess there's some sort of an issue getting the sprinklers on. We're gonna have to reschedule this to be finished another time. I have to go to the airport. I'm going to close my garage now. When I go to close my garage, she threw her body there to like block me from doing so, pushing it up, and I let her know she needed to leave. I called my landlord. My landlord also let her know that she needed to leave right away or we would call the police. She refused to listen to all of us, and the reason a lot of people were saying I should go up and move her, I was not ever going to touch this woman. I was not going to give her a reason to say that I assaulted her or anything like that. So she refused to move, which is trespassing. She has trespassed before. I've dealt with this before. I called the police. Finally, the sprinkler guy was basically said to her, like, I can just come back another time and finish this. It's not a big deal. And then she was like, okay, fine, and moved out of the way.
Law enforcement arrived just as the tenant left for the airport. Unfortunately, officers offered little help in resolving the confrontation. Emotionally drained and frustrated, the tenant reflected on the experience while in transit. What should have been a routine visit turned into a troubling example of how renters are sometimes treated, as if they don't deserve boundaries or respect. This incident highlights a larger issue. Regardless of HOA duties or neighborly involvement, no one has the right to enter or interfere with a tenant's property without notice. In most states, landlords and property representatives must give at least 24 hours notice, and even then, entry must be reasonable and not used to harass.
And so I'm not going to deal with that. There are lots of people who might try to bully you. Renters deal with that sort of stuff a lot. Her judgment of us because we can't be owners and we're renters is ridiculous and not acceptable. And so I will be exercising all of my rights to protect myself from the situation and from harassment. You know, it's really unfortunate. I respect my elders, but sometimes they're wrong, and she clearly is on some sort of a power trip. That's all the details that I'm going to share, but that is what happened, and mostly I really just want to make this video to remind you that if you are a tenant, you have rights. People cannot just invade your space like this. Please know that you have those rights. There's lots of great free resources online, and that's everything that I'm going to answer. So,
if you're a renter, know your rights. Every state has specific protections in place, and free online resources can help you understand what's legal and what's not. While the ordeal is ongoing, the tenant's landlord is stepping in to handle the matter formally. The hope? That no one else has to deal with this kind of boundary crossing ever again.